For those who are wishing for millions and millions of riches and shelters like palaces or flashy everything for their lives, can they ask themselves, is that really what they want? This person has everything they want and desire, but deep down they are unhappy. Yeah, they are not happy. So welcome back if you're coming back, and welcome if it's your first time. I had a mentor years back while I was still studying at the university, and at the same time I was trying to earn money for my expenses. And my mentor at that time asked me a question. He said, "What do you really want?" And the first thing that popped on my mind was, I want to be abundant. And I will not go into the details, but maybe some other time. But what are we talking about being abundant? I knew my abundant, which for me sort of symbolized peace, is what I really meant. It was not abundant, actually. I really wanted peace at that time. But do you know what peace means? Someone whom I can't remember once said, if you want peace, then be ready to die. Now, I don't know if they meant physical death or the death of the ego, or they meant both of these things. Peace in the sense of physical death is true, because when you die, there is no more pain on your physical body, or no more responsibilities that might give you a headache, or any way you needed to strive for your living, to support yourself or your loved ones, just to live and get about with life. With your physical death, everything on the third dimensional stops. It is only your spiritual realm that goes on, as well as your deeds, whatever you've done on this earth, on this journey on your earth. So with death, it won't be wrong to say that you would attain peace, but at the same time, it all depends on your deeds while you are alive. Were you a good person, or were you a bad person? If you are good, then you are saved. You continue existing in peace in your fifth dimension. But if you were bad, what do you think happens to you? You were a savage, right? While you were living fearless of anyone and had all the confidence in yourself. So you might have done a lot of damage in your life. So what happens to you on your death? Can we all agree to say that you are F up? And you better find somewhere for siege. All the bad things will come in form of man, or human form, to torment you where you are in your graveyard. Or some people cremate their bodies thinking they won't be found. That physical body might get lost, but your soul is intact. And now there is no dismantle of pieces of your soul. So your soul will face all that punishment. So we see there is no peace in physical death if it pleases you. There is just no running away. So let's look at the ego death. Tower of the ego death to the ego caused by some misfortune that might happen to you is what would be the ego death. And when that happens and you accept, acknowledge what is happening, and you start working on yourself, now you start getting the feeling of peace, because you hold yourself accountable for all that you do, and you work on your weak points, which elevates you to a higher level that gives you peace. And as long as you continue working to develop yourself in a good way, you're getting closer and closer to the peace that you searched for. Because now you are not codependent on anyone, and that stops you from expecting anything from anyone. which pushes you to look for ways to cater for your own needs and wants in the way of the Most High. Mind you, we are not forgetting this, right? Doing things for the sake of the Most High, because we know that that is the only salvation on this earth, because He put us out here on earth on a journey to discover things and stay righteous, where we use what He has given us until He calls us back again. So probably they meant the peace was ego death, not physical. So probably I could get my peace that way too. Thank you, God, for the guidance. And back to, what do you really want? Question. If you want anything, think of all the possibilities of advantage and disadvantages that what you want was going to give you. Do you really want that? For example, famous people, and it's not all of them. Some are born into that world, but those who made a wish of being famous and being a certain star, most of them never thought that they would face a lot of pressure onto their psychology as well as physicality, because they were just blinded by the glamour of the flashiness the flashiness of the light. But behind the light, the darkness was not shown. And when they got involved, some realized the effects and retreated at early age, and some thought they could manage, in which only a few could, and those were those who had a healthy family culture lives. But the ones who hadn't a healthy past family life went down the rabbit hole until they decided to work on themselves. Only then did they get saved from the rabbit hole. I'm not saying being famous is a misery, but it is a whole lot of responsibility that needs to be balanced, and you need to be grounded so that you don't go tripping. For those who ground themselves and they balance their darkness as well as their lightness, they survive, but not getting into the rabbit hole. But there are also those who had unhealthy family lives who still remain grounded to their ethics, and those are just one of the few lucky ones who moved ahead with sound minds. And it is to my hope that people are grounded, and when they get the blessings that might overwhelm them, they still remain grounded and firm in their faiths and allow God, the Most High, to guide them through in the right way in their lives. Because you might say you are accepting God's way, but how are you really applying that without adding your own ideas of ego and creating your own way of thinking that is egoistic, without including God's way of thinking, which is unconditional love way? I mean, you could say I'm of God, but then your actions don't match up to that, in the sense that you use religion and God to harm others. So choose wisely, be humble, and surrender to God in the right way, and pray in the right way, which does not defy God or change the real meanings of the good teachings of God. Because that is what the devil does. He changes meaning to what God has given. Let's be mindful. Do not understand so much everything according to your ego for show to people, just to show off yourself that you know this, you know that. But understand everything according to the right way God has taught you to be, in a humble way. And that is why so many philosophers lost by the end of their lives, because some of them thought they were smarter than God. And I hope that helps. I'm ready to stop here right now. So till next time, stay well, be well, live well, love yourselves so that you can love others, because there is no way you will be able to love others and others to love you if you don't love yourself. And with much love, God bless.